All right, this is going to be a look at a player who I have kind of admired and watched from afar for at least the better part of 2 or 3 seasons, how he handled things at Alabama, Oklahoma, how he handled things in the NFL with some of the different criticisms and things that were said about him. Jalen Hurts, to me, just epitomizes a winner. I kind of took the title of this video, I kind of took from 6 words that he said in his post-game interview, or one of his post-game interviews, I should say, after the Eagles' 38-35 loss to the Chiefs. He summarized it basically as you either win or you learn. And I kind of shifted a little bit. Winners learn. People who are winners learn from losses, setbacks, difficulties, barriers. Jalen Hurts is that. I mean, he has always been that. I just don't see either how there's any other way to interpret Jalen Hurts' body of work at Alabama, Oklahoma, and now with the Eagles in the NFL. Played fantastic in the Super Bowl. Yeah, he had a fumble, returned for a touchdown by Nick Bolton, who played a spectacular game, himself. I think Hurts also had one pass that I thought was thrown maybe 3, 4 feet wider horizontally than it should have been, but overall played great. I think 374 or 376 yards of offense between rushing and passing, rushed for 3 touchdowns, threw for another one to A.J. Brown. There's just so much to like about Jalen Hurts, and it's not just the intangibles. People didn't notice it, apparently, last year in 2021 regular season. I mean, he put on a show, and they ran a lot of similar concepts. It's not like they changed the offense for Jalen Hurts this year. They ran a lot of these same concepts last year, and he executed them. The addition of A.J. Brown, some of the other things certainly had an impact. I think Jalen Hurts cleaned some things up. Don't get me wrong. The play calling improved in certain aspects. The defense was way better. So, that affects the offense as well. Jalen Hurts played to the level of a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Of course, he doesn't get credit for the win. Patrick Mahomes, gets all the credit, even though statistically Jalen Hurts surpassed him. Not saying Hurts is better than Mahomes, because I don't really get into those conversations. Both guys did what they were asked to do in terms of executing the scheme in the Super Bowl for how their team, how their coaches thought they could win. It's not surprising for me, how well he played. He's always been a winner. He's just always been someone who is there in the end to make plays. I appreciate, his ability to come back from adversity. And so when he makes comments like you either win or you learn, I don't think that's just lip service. I think that is how he is as a person, how he is as a player. And I'm going to try to use some examples from the game film to illustrate that point. This is the first time in the game they lined up in ace gun tight. It's a compressed formation. It's a very predictable formation in some ways. Early in the Eagles games, it's generally an RPO, which is what you're getting here. They've run this since week 1 in 2021 season. They ran this against Atlanta. You're normally getting a snag concept to the side of the back. The back is crossing face. Jalen Hurts could hand the ball off or he could keep it. Tight end running out in the flats. Inadvertently, it appears as if the Chiefs defended this perfectly. In live time, when I saw this in the Super Bowl, I thought, man, the Chiefs were prepared for that. I think this inside linebacker just happens to be in the window at first. This corner plays the shoot route well from the tight end, which I think is Goddard. This linebacker ends up in the window for the snag concept. So this is a situation where things have not worked out for Jalen Hurts. This is a play call that has worked for them for the better part of 30 games, the first or second time they line up in it. Now, in a moment, you're going to see them line up in the same formation and punish the Chiefs defense with a complementary play. My point is, and you're going to get the end zone angle here in a moment, watch Hurts' reaction. He just moves to the next read. He decides not to give the ball to Boston Scott because Karlaftis steps down and will be in position to make a tackle on the running back, so he keeps the football. This linebacker, who also played a spectacular game, if you ask me, is in the window of the snag. The corner is covering the shoot route, the flat route by the tight end. So Hurts just extends the play and looks for work. I think that's his mentality after the game. You either win or you learn. And that's his mentality in the midst of a play that breaks down or is defended well, at least initially. I think there's a lot to be said for Jalen Hurts' mentality. I don't want to say not caring what people have to say about him, because there were so many things said by NFL media, even Eagles fans in some cases, that he just keeps on playing. This is A.J. Brown, one of his first catches, I think, on a slant, this kind of little patented slant concept. They didn't get him the ball early until the touchdown or until this play and then the touchdown in a moment. I love the manner in which these two guys, operate together, Devonta Smith as well. Great throw by Jalen Hurts, a great adjustment to the football, a better adjustment to the football by A.J. Brown. But this, to me, is just illustrative of what Jalen Hurts can do. You saw him adapt in the middle of the play on the RPO, the first play I showed you, when things didn't go well. Here, it's designed to go up top. He throws it up top, so he trusts his teammates. Again, this is the possession after he turned the football over, and they called this play. Same play concept twice, including on a 4th and 5. Tells you how much faith and trust the coaches have in him. And I think in turn, Jalen Hurts has that. He transfers that faith and that trust to his teammates, which he's always had in himself. I think he's a far better quarterback than people give him credit for. Too often they look at statistics. The man makes plays in big moments. He has done so for years. I'm constantly reminded of the year when he was not the starter at Alabama. I think his junior year. I may be wrong there with the year. And he came in and basically brought Alabama back in the SEC title game, I think, to push them into the national championship situation. You can't ask for anyone to do better with the play concepts that we saw in the Super Bowl than what Jalen Hurts did. I think he played at an incredibly high level, deserves to be talked about among the best quarterbacks in the league. The statistical output or performance may not be commensurate with other quarterbacks in the league who get a lot more opportunities throwing the football. Jalen Hurts is involved in the run game, so he's able to offer a little bit of that run element. I'm a huge fan of his, as you can tell by listening to my video. I have had multiple conversations recently with a coaching friend who's a family member, and I even forgot about some of this. He's reminded me that last year I was on the Jalen Hurts bandwagon and pushing back against people who were saying he was a bridge quarterback, or the Eagles were still going to look at quarterback. They were looking at trading him, and I was like, "Are you crazy? Look at the impact he had last year." I think too often people look at stats. I think last year he had 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. They lost in a wild card round at Tampa Bay. Didn't play well at all in the first half, including Jalen Hurts. He didn't play well, in my opinion. And too often people look at statistics, and that's the end-all, be-all. You got to look at the gameplay. You got to look at the game flow. And I think Jalen Hurts, when you watch him play, you just see a competitor. You see a leader. You see someone who will his team to win. And unfortunately for the Eagles and Eagles fans, they didn't get the win in this situation against the Chiefs. I think he played beautifully. I'm going to kind of try to go back and watch the Super Bowl just to appreciate it. Some of these throws you don't get this angle of. I think the broadcast actually did show us this angle. I could be wrong. A beautiful throw against man. Look at the window that he has, or lack thereof. There's really only one place he can put this football in a manner that the tight ends kind of got to go dive and go get it. I don't think Goddard did as much to create separation there on that route as he could have. Jalen Hurts, again, when things go bad, he just moves on, makes the play work as best he can. This is a kind of like a smash concept, I think. We'll get the all-22 angle here in a moment. It's a 3rd and long, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14. He's throwing it over this corner who didn't play it bad at all and ends up being a catch. I think this is the one that was one of the ones that was reviewed. Beautiful stuff from Jalen Hurts. Again, I think you're getting a smash concept here. So something like this. And I believe this receiver runs it in, and the corner just kind of passes it off in there. I might be wrong on that outside route there by the number 1 receiver, A.J. Brown. So 3rd and 13. Yeah, so he's just running a little in. So smash concept, smash in, whatever people want to call it. Running it over top of the corner. Great throw, great catch. On a 3rd and 13, I got no problem if somebody says, hey, that ball could have easily been tipped or intercepted or whatever. That's fine. It's 3rd and 13, though. He's trying to get the first down. So this is the read. This is the correct read. A.J. Brown wasn't open. Elite stuff, if you ask me. I hesitate to even use words like that. Elite, top 10, top 5, whatever. I hate that stuff. I don't think it matters in the grand scheme of things. I love what Jalen Hurts does. I love what they run with him with the Eagles. It's consistent with what they ran in 2021 when they started this run. I really think that this run began in 2021. When you look at their offense in week 1 against the Falcons, 2021, they had a plan. They were sharp. They came out and made plays very similar to a lot of the plays you see made here in the Super Bowl. And this is the last comment that I'm going to make, is he has faith and trust in his teammates and himself. Watch when he gets out here. I mean, there's plenty of defenders here converging to be able to make the stop. Jalen Hurts is just willing to give it all and get in the end zone for the tying 2-point conversion run. I think that made it 35-35. I was rooting for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. That's probably obvious. appreciate, and I'm glad for the Chiefs though, because I think they played winning football, especially on the offensive side. They adjusted and adapted and ran the football more than they had in previous games, previous seasons, and big games for Andy Reid. So credit to them being able to get out the win. But I think guys like Jalen Hurts, his performance needs to be remembered or at least recognized by most of us as football fans. And so I'm just trying to do my part in doing that. Man, I thought it was a beautiful game overall, both sides. Unfortunately, the footing is and the call on James Bradbury late have kind of overshadowed in some ways. But man, the way the Eagles handled it, Jalen Hurts being one of them, the way they handled it in the locker room across the board. I don't know if you guys seen the video that a lot of people shared on Twitter. I shared it on Twitter, talking about multiple players basically checking the media and checking everyone else and saying, no, that one play didn't decide the game. That one call didn't decide the game. We put ourselves in that position. That's what winners do, man. They take ownership and they learn from it. And I just think that's what Jalen Hurts is. I would look for the Eagles to be back and to be back soon. Now, does that mean they'll win the Super Bowl next year? I don't know. But it means they'll be there. I think they'll be there in the NFC Championship game, or they'll be there in the Super Bowl and have an opportunity to win. Once you get to that level, it's going to be small mistakes or small issues, because there's less time and less space when you face great teams or good teams. I think the Eagles will learn from it if they follow, their leader, which I think is now Jalen Hurts. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the breakdown of his play in the Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs.